Hello there everyone, welcome back to James Redmond TV. More news, more updates, Romeo Lavia. This is just a quick news video to keep you posted on what's going on. And at the moment, or just recently, Liverpool today offered a £46 million deal to Southampton, which Southampton rejected because, in case you didn't know, in case they didn't say it a million times already, they are not going to accept anything less than 50 million. Now listen, there's a few things that we can delve into here. Frustrations are going to obviously grow because we're impatient. A lot of people just want to see the transfer over the line. I do think there's some benefits to sometimes trying to get the best possible deal when we're maybe talking about a big transfer. So, for instance, if if we want to buy a player for 100 million and we're trying to get it down to, let's say, 80 million, we're going to start off in the region of about 70 or something like this. They're going to say, obviously, no, fuck that. And we also don't want 80, by the way. So then we're going to try and get as close to 80 as possible. But now we're talking in chunks of 5 and 10 millions. This seems to be the chunks of 2, 4, 8. And now we started off at 37. We raised the offer to 42. Now we're on 46. I am just kind of sitting there thinking, like, listen, obviously 4 million is less than 8 million or 6 million, whatever it would have been. But now we're talking penny pinching mother effers, you know what I'm saying? I'm just saying, let's just get that deal done. And when I say get that deal done, I don't think he's going to play against Chelsea anyway, which is poor from Liverpool, the fact we haven't had a CDM ready. And even when we were talking to El Atifak, we didn't accelerate this process, which, by the way, this Lavia deal has been ongoing for about over a month now. It was over a month ago we established personal terms was agreed, and he was happy to come to Liverpool. It was established that he was happy to leave Southampton. He didn't even play the opening game of their season, which you probably think he would if he's such a significant player and we're spending this much money, and he's obviously a Klopp priority target right now. So that's why I'm sitting there thinking, okay then, whatever influence Klopp does have in these transfer sayings, he clearly is happy with this player. The club have identified the player has been identified by top entities before. It was only over 12 months ago he was playing for Man City. Before that he was in Belgium being one of the top prospects in that position. He's great on the ball. That's why I'd take him. But then the confusions what we need to discuss is the confusions that come from fans saying, why isn't the deal done right now? And then you'll also get some fans who sit there and say, just let the club do the thing and then we'll judge when the transfer window ends. And I think it's fair on both ends. I think it's fair when people sit there and say the club have the right to negotiate and they have the right to save themselves a couple of million. And then I do think that some fans have the right to sit there and say, well, listen, we got Europa League last season. It would be nice if we started this season fully prepared. I think there's energy on both sides. And I think we would be a lot more lenient if we had seen great transfers in years gone by. But as we know, there's news about Thuram confirmed by Fabrizio Romano via his YouTube channel, I think. I don't want to misquote him in case he didn't, so don't take this for definite, but he said that we thought Kefren Thuram was going to be too much and it weren't worth buying him. That was something that came out very recently, and as we know at the start of the window, there was concrete links to Thuram. There was discussions ongoing between the club and the player, but apparently the wages were too high and the bids were was too much to even offer, so that's why we pulled out of that one. And listen, I'm happy because I think McAllister and Szoboszlai are both upgrades than what Thuram would have been, and let's remember, Thuram is not a number 6. It's pointless getting Thuram. I don't even think Thuram is significantly better than Curtis Jones in a number 8 position, in a more offensive number 10 or a number 8, whatever you want to say. Thuram is not a number 6. I'm not saying he couldn't do a job, but let's go and get someone who's at least accommodated to that role, someone who's established in that position. That's what I think, and I think that we need to get this deal over and done with efficiently. I don't care if it's today, tomorrow, I just want to get it done. I think it's a big shame and actually a bigger embarrassment if we don't get the deal done and then we're sitting there thinking like, okay, we missed out on Mbappe a few years ago. We missed out on Jude Bellingham recently. You know, we've been linked with players like Inacio and Ugarte, and we failed on those targets. And now we're linked with a 19-year-old who plays for Southampton in the Championship, and we can't even get him. Now, listen, I understand that we can't spend to the level of City, and I understand we can't spend to the level of United, Arsenal, even Spurs sometimes, like Chelsea, obviously, crazy money. I get this, but we can certainly do more than what we're doing right now. And even if it's not Lavia for 50 million, you need to go out there and get someone for 35, 40 million. And as we know, it's a very limited market. So now we've got to raise the question, are FSG out of their depth financially? Because listen, we know they've got money. Now, we don't know how much money they're willing to spend and invest into the club. We've also heard things like we're a self-sufficient club. Well, Liverpool were also, I believe, the second highest revenue generators. We have just acquired £50 million for Fabinho and Henderson. massive wages across the board with Naby Keita, Oxlade, Milner, Henderson, Fabinho, all gone. Whatever percentage we were paying Arthur for his wages from Juventus, which I believe was a majority percentage, that's now gone. You've freed up so many wages. So over the course of the season, you're going to be saving tens of millions. So where's the problem financially? Why can't we cough up an extra 4 million? Or why is it a problem? Why is it a problem that we can't go and spend 4 extra million on Lavia and get the deal done and dusted? If you want to just build it up and then reveal them, that's fine. That's marketing. That's a different conversation. You can get the deal under wraps and complete it and then announce it in your own time. But why is this taking over a month where a lot of things could have happened there? Chelsea, they could have swooped in and got Lavia. Arsenal might have changed their mind if they ended up selling Partey. We don't know about the circumstances of other teams. Saudi have made everything so unpredictable. So when people sit there and say that I sympathise with FSG because they didn't know about the Saudi thing, well then, if you don't know you're going to get a replacement, then you probably shouldn't sell Fabinho, who at least not in recent time, but prior to that, he was one of the best CDMs in the world without question. So why would you sell him for 40 million without a plan B? And Lavia was already linked with the club through reliable journalists before Fabinho and Henderson even left. So he was already a part of the plans. So now where's the replacement for Henderson and Fabinho? So I'm not, even if you want to get one player to replace those two, that's what we need. So what I'm trying to establish now is not a negative video, and it's actually not even at FSG, but we have got to hold people accountable. If we play bad, we've got to hold the players and the manager accountable. If the owners aren't buying players, we've got to hold them accountable. If we're failing on deals, we might need to look at the board of director who's appointed by the owners, which matters. So then what's the conclusion, what's the result, and what's the solution? The solution here is stop being stingy bastards. We know you've got 4 million. You probably make that in a week. And then now let's go and get Lavia. And you probably make that in a week through the club. Shirt sales and all that malarkey. We make a lot of money. So don't let the club fool you thinking that was just some Football League 2 team who just makes hundreds of thousands on weeks. And I don't think I need to be a financial expert or within the financial documents of the football club. I don't think I need to read them to know we make a lot of money. I walk 2 minutes down the road, there's people talking about Liverpool. I walk even further, there's pubs with licences, and I know that they're getting a cut of that Premier League revenue money, and then I also know that just being in the Premier League gets you a lot of money. I also know that we've finished in a European place for every year for the past few years, and that gets you significant increased revenue, which is why clubs love to play in Europe. It's a massive factor. So listen, I'm not trying to do this thing, but I make it make sense. If there is a defence for FSG, I think it's important that we all know what the defence is, and if it's actually a good defence. If they are skint or they can't spend much money within the football club, why is that? And then we can analyse the judgments and decisions they've made that got them to that point in being skint or not having enough funds. Because there's something wrong when we need a centre-back. I'd argue we need a right-back and also a midfielder, and we've let go of 6 or 7 players, so there is places available for these things, yet we're only looking likely to get one deal done. And again, I always give FSG the leeway to get deals done out of nowhere and all that stuff, but then it's also important to take into account we need more than just one player. I'd argue 2 midfielders and the centre-back. That's my argument right now. I don't think we're going to get the latter. I think it's possible we get 2. I think we finish in 1, but that's just purely my lack of faith. That's an emotional prediction right there, and I'm going to admit that. I don't know, I'm not a journalist, but yes, based on my faith in FSG, it's not out of the realm of possibility we finish this window with 1 centre midfielder added on top of what we've already got. So yeah, overall it'll be 3 in and 7 out. I weren't expecting you to replace the overall 7. You have got 2 really good players. I'm a big fan of McAllister and Szoboszlai. I would be a big fan of Lavia if he joins. I like the way he plays, but then I question, what about the other areas? You know what I mean? It's a tough one. But anyway, guys, it's kind of like Inter Miami. You know what I mean? Like, they've just gone and got Alba, Messi and Busquets, and they're doing really well. But you need to build the team around them for them to be a world-class team. You know what I mean? Completely different levels. I know, in fact, that was a very poor example, but bear with me. When you do daily videos, you're not always on your A game, you know what I mean, chat. But anyway, smash a like if you enjoy. Let me know your thoughts on the 3rd bid being rejected by Southampton, because I think they're well within their right to reject or accept. And the player is that. And if you sit there and say, oh, he's not worth 50 million, well, I can sit there and say he's worth whatever Southampton says he's worth. It's just how it is, and if you don't like it, then do one. And it turns out they might not need to sell him for any less than that. So yeah, I don't think they even want to sell him. I think they just said, okay, then if we get 50 million, then we're gonna have to. You know what I mean? But otherwise, I'm not too sure. I'm not too sure what's going to happen here, man. Because I don't know. Like, do we just end up not paying 50 million because we wanted to stick to our guns? Or do we pay the 50 million eventually, which we're going to have to? I'm surprised that throughout the duration of this week, our club has not came to the conclusion we just have to pay this 50 million. Even if it's with add-ons and all this shit. Because that's how deals are always done. They're always done in instalments and stuff like that, you know what I mean? It's why these big transfers can happen. Makes clubs more self-sustainable and all that malarkey. And I appreciate it. Why can't we find a way to pay in instalments this? Just come on. Has the Fabinho and Henderson funds not hit the bank account yet? Anyway, smash a like if you enjoyed. Subscribe if you haven't already, only if you enjoy. If you don't enjoy, then you're probably a bit weird for tuning into this video because, I mean, if you're a first-time viewer and you were just disappointed, that's fine. But I get people commenting like, oh, I've watched this lad a few times and he's such this and he's such that and he's so bad at content. I'm like, well, what are you watching? You need to invest your time into better stuff, mate, you know what I mean? And I'm saying that because I care for you, not because I, you know, I could easily just say keep tuning in and hating and watch the adverts because that's boss, but come on, do something better with your life. Go to church, go and do some press-ups or something, you know what I mean, mate? Anyway, guys, third attempt of doing an outro. Sayonara.